Hi, I'm Alan Ross. I'm here at the IEEE PES T&D, that's a lot of acronyms, conference. This is the 2020 version that is actually being held in 2022. These interviews that we're conducting is with thought leaders on the future of the power industry. So enjoy. My next guest is a wonderful man. We've done some lunches together at Seasons 52 in Atlanta. John McDonald from General Electric and a rock star with IEEE. We're going to find out a lot about that. But John, thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Good to see you again, Al.
Okay, so first thing I want to ask a visionary is to have a vision. What are we're at a unique time in the industry, and I know you've seen unique times in the industry all along, but right now it seems to be the Wild West. We have a lot of things going on, but what are the problems, opportunities, challenges, the biggest ones that you see facing us in the power industry?
I would say, there's been a lot more focus on resiliency.
Right.
We've never had as many extreme weather events as we've had recently. And so one of the things that it's impacted is microgrids. Previously, microgrids were a niche technology only for university campuses, military bases, and rural villages.
Okay.
Our first installation at GE was in 2010 at a rural village in British Columbia. But now utilities are strategically implementing microgrids to help their resiliency. So if there's a problem with a bigger grid, a smaller microgrid can island.
Right.
If it has enough generation, it can continue to operate. So there's much more emphasis on microgrids today than we've ever seen before.
What are the problems that microgrids create, though? Because with an opportunity comes a problem. Are there problems with too many microgrids?
Well, the thing that we didn't do initially was the focus. When you start something new, you focus simply. And the focus initially was controlling each microgrid separately. Okay? Because there were few and far between. Now as we're putting in more microgrids and closer, like multiple with the same utility, the question is how can we coordinate the operation of microgrids more on a regional basis?
Is that the definition of interoperability, that they've got to work connectedly within a system? Is that part of that ability?
No, when we say the word interoperability, we think more of two vendors' devices being able to exchange information and communicate with each other.
Right.
So this is more of a coordination.
Okay.
Dispatch and coordination, so that you don't want the operation of this microgrid to adversely impact the operation of this one. There's interdependencies, especially if they're located close to each other.
Right.
So you want to optimize the overall operation of multiple microgrids.
Because of that, Puerto Rico had a huge tornado. It destroyed their entire infrastructure. We had people comment the Department of Energy was going to spend I can't remember, $52 billion to rebuild it. And they asked us to look at it on the asset side. This is my role as an asset ISO 55000 person. Right. And we looked at it and we asked the question, well, why are you rebuilding something that just proves that you're not resilient? I mean, building big towers over the mountains, why aren't you going the microgrid way? Right. They haven't been able to fully implement that. But here you have an island. Now, maybe you still have your large generation for San Juan, but why wouldn't you just build the island out with microgrids? So is that the answer?
Well, there's two things. One is with respect to what you asked, the answer would be to use state-of-the-art technology if you're rebuilding.
Yeah.
And not build what you had before. Let's say, how can we improve things? And there would be microgrids involved.
Yeah.
But the challenge is when something is destroyed like that, okay, and you rebuild, typically you need to do it quickly. And typically the money that you receive, and there's some stipulations sometimes that basically say don't spend the extra time to design things, better than they were.
Yeah.
It's basically replacement cost.
Okay.
Like an insurance policy, replacement cost of what you had, which is kind of frustrating because if you're gonna rebuild it, let's take advantage of new technology. So there's some issues there more than just the technology part.
Okay.
In terms of being able to do that.
I got it. Good. So we had somebody, we had two different people yesterday and they talked about the fact that demand for power has been pretty flat for the last decade, and that one predicted that there was going to be 30% increase over the next decade, and the other one predicted that until 2035, there's going to be a 100% increase in demand for power. Whether it's 30% or 75%, we know it's not 20%.
Right.
Electrification of transportation, all of these data centers that are coming back here because they're not, cybersecurity and everything. And they stopped mining bitcoins in China. Now they're mining them here. They take a lot of power. But the demand of that, regardless of the increase, how are we going to, as a society, how are we going to be able to do that when we're not necessarily working together to solve that? But what do you think some of the solutions are to be able to take advantage of new technology, new ways of doing it, so we don't just think we do the same old thing that we've always done?
Yeah, well, I think, as the demand or the load increases, there's just more uses for electricity today than there were before, than ever. And the dependency on electricity is so much greater. But some of the things we're doing today that we didn't do before is there's much more emphasis today on in-home enabling technology.
Yeah.
For homeowners, residential, commercial, industrial customers, much more focus today to conserve energy efficiency and conserve energy. There's so much focus today on smart thermostats, on Alexa, using Alexa, lighting, and I see so many homeowners really, implementing intelligent systems in their home, which helps to conserve. The other thing is with distribution, we're doing a lot more with voltage and reactive power control.
Okay.
So we're reducing the losses. And we're able to utilize the infrastructure. When you have reactive power on the lines, that takes up space on the conductor. The real power is what we use.
Yeah.
If that space is taken up where real power can't use it, it's like, there's a lot of losses. And so we're doing a really good job today, because the one thing with smart grid, the real advantage was there's much more focus on the distribution part of the grid. Previously, all the investment was generation transmission, very little on distribution. And we had tremendous losses, low power factors, not a good utilization of the infrastructure. Right. And we're doing there's much more focus on that today. The benefits, for every dollar we invest, we get $5 to $6 back. So the benefit cost ratio is very strong. Yeah. So that's going to help us a lot. Well, a much better utilization of the existing infrastructure.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
What is GE doing to prepare for this future? What's going on there? You've been around a long time doing a lot of things for GE.
I'll be 15 years at GE later this year, but this is my 51st year as an IEEE member.
Okay, we're going to get to that part of the
51 years, and 48 years working full-time. And, with a lot of leadership positions, so I've experienced a lot. And I would say, with GE, we know that the goal of most utilities today is to have a digitized grid.
Right.
The digitization. We say the journey to digitization. And it's amazing when you think that we started that journey being reactive. We waited for something to explode, or waited for something to fail, and then we reacted. Well, by then, it's too late.
It's too late, yeah.
So you said, why did we do this sooner? So now we've moved up the journey from reactive to predictive. Okay. So, what health information do we need about the asset? What analytics do we need to use that data? And let's predict as many failure modes as we can.
Right.
And if we see a problem occurring, let's address it right away and prevent the problem. So that's part of the digitization. And so I see, we're heavy on this at GE, both in monitoring and diagnostics product line, as well as asset management.
Excellent. Yeah.
Okay? And a lot of it is hiring data scientists for the first time.
Right.
We are, as well as utilities, and the data scientists don't have any background in power systems. But what's cool about it is, those of us like myself that's only been in power systems, when you start teaching a data scientist, a young person, data scientist, about the grid, they have perspectives of the grid that a power system person doesn't have.
Yes.
They're really fresh perspectives on new innovative things we could do. to optimize the operation. So that's something that we're heavily involved in.
You know, the National Grid up in the New York area in 2018, I think it was, hired more data scientists than they hired double E's. It was just amazing because it's happening everywhere. I know the same thing is happening in Southern Cal Edison.
Yeah.
Get these data scientists, they've done some machine learning things to replace transformers based on data and predictive. It's not even AI, it's just machine learning at this point. Saves them millions of dollars by doing this. Quite fantastic. I want to get to IEEE. I know IEEE has been a passion of yours for years. You've served as a lot of, how many times were you president? Were you president once or multiple times?
I was secretary twice of the Power and Energy Society and president. I had a 6-year commitment, president-elect, 2 years as president, and then 2 years as past president.
Okay.
So.
You've seen a lot of change at IEEE, and we both know the value of it, but I want you to make a blatant appeal and first of all, talk to companies like GE, talk to the suppliers. Why should they get their engineers involved? So the vendor side of the equation, why should they be involved with IEEE?
You know, I would say, because I've seen this happen, if the employees of a company are 100% internally focused,
right?
No IEEE, no C-grade, nothing else. You know, you could do good work for the company, but I've seen this happen. The risk is that if you don't know what's happening in the world around you, what new standards are being developed, right? What truly are vendors developing, you know, that you may not be aware of because you don't go to trade shows, you don't go to IEEE events. You could be making decisions for your company that you think are optimum, but they're actually suboptimal.
Right.
You could be buying equipment that in 9 months will be obsolete because the vendor wasn't aware that a new standard was being finished with a new communications protocol that then customers would require in all their RFP, their requests for proposals. So to me, if I was CEO of an organization, I would want a balance of not maybe all my employees, but my certain employees, a balance between internal and external focus. And I would support getting involved in all the relevant standards working groups, attending all the relevant conferences, you know.
Right.
And we at the T&D at this conference, you know, we have a new policy where we want utilities not just to send one or two people, but if they send like 10 people, they get a substantial discount on registration.
And it was $1,000 for 10 people.
Yeah.
I think we had 32 utilities.
We have 100 utilities taking advantage of this.
Oh my gosh, that's excellent.
In New Orleans this week.
Yeah.
100 utilities sending many people.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, so the cost, to me, the benefit cost ratio.
Yeah.
The cost is a lot lower, but the benefits are great because when you bring that knowledge back to the organization, your decisions are going to be better, your risk is going to be a lot less.
Yeah.
And I think you're just going to have a fresh look at things and be more innovative. You know.
You brought up something, and I want you to help me fix it. Okay, I've got to fix it. Smart grid. You've been part of Smart Grid. You were there in the beginning. You helped develop the standard with Hausman and some of the other people. We started with 13 different societies, not just PES. Now PES was the main source that you and Pat Ryan had a vision for it. Do you know how many other societies now participate other than PES? One, the Reliability Society, my society, I'm the rep for that. It's not reliability, it's me. So maybe one or two, but they're basically people who are part of other societies participating. The societies themselves are not participating. Since you were one of the authors of that, I want you to make a plea to them about why they should participate with Smart Grid.
Well, you know, we started the Smart Grid effort. Started as an IEEE level, a Future Directions Committee. Right. And then when it grew, well, you're right, 14 societies total, included PES and 13 others. Then it moved, then the question was, where should the home be of Smart Grid? And it made sense for the home to be in PES, right, which is where it is today. But, you know, with anything, Alan, with anything at a volunteer level, if you continue to provide value to the members will continue to participate. But a lot of it, in a volunteer organization, a lot of it depends on the leadership. You know, the leadership continue to provide value, continue to have activities, information, so people want to continue to participate.
Right.
And I just think that there was kind of a honeymoon period, and then I think it's kind of leveled off. And I think there needs to be rejuvenation of IEEE Smart Grid. You know, I used to give a lot of webinars for IEEE Smart Grid as well as many other people. And it's continuing, but to me, not at the activity level that we had before. I agree.
Yeah, value to people. We've got to get back. So I want to go from the honeymoon stage to let's get married again. Okay, let's have our 50th wedding anniversary for getting married. I know it hasn't been that long. Last question I want to ask is these conferences are important. You know, people say, well, yeah, that's the way that IEEE makes money, PES, and does that. I've had so many vendors here talk about the importance of what this is to them that has nothing to do with money. It has to be peers and learning and all those other ways of doing it. We're starting a Grid Edge conference that you know, which is different than T&D. Now that, and then there's going to be a GT&D in Istanbul for Europe and everything. That's a lot of conferences. Make a plea for conferences. Why are they of value? Why should people attend?
Well, the first thing is there's a lot of conferences. So you shouldn't feel like you have to go to all of them. The question is which ones are most strategic to me.
Right.
You know, that's first. Second thing is, I think the reason you go to conferences, you know, especially ones with exhibition area, one is you can't see all the latest technology by inviting vendors to your organization.
Yeah.
To the extent that you can with a couple days at a conference.
Right.
You know, there's 600 or 700 exhibitors here, and you can come for a couple days, and you can see all the latest technology from that many companies in a very short period of time. You can't do that any other way.
Right.
You know. Second thing is, and we learn from each other, and you can make better decisions for your company by coming here and sharing information with others and learning from others. We expand our network of key contacts, and you know, we meet people here. Like I meet people here that I continue to talk to after the conference, and they continue to help me with the work that I do.
I met you at a conference, and we continue to have fun.
Exactly.
Great illustration.
And we share information with each other, and we learn from each other, and that's invaluable, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing, and I really encourage people to do this, is IEEE is a volunteer organization. We're looking for people that want to lead.
Right.
Okay. And I tell students and young people, the only limit you have with IEEE, I said the sky is the limit. The only limit is you yourself.
Yeah.
You can do anything you want in IEEE. You know, I've led standards groups. I've been on the board of directors. I've been president of PES. I've been on the Standards Association board of governors. I'm now a director on the IEEE Foundation. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but if you take leadership position, you learn much more.
Right.
The more you put into something, the more you get out. You know, I said, don't just go to an IEEE conference and sit in the back of the room and not lead or not ask questions or participate. So that's the other thing is, you know, find strategic conferences to go to, but actively participate. And if you can, get on the advisory committee for the conference.
Yeah.
Where you're helping to organize it.
Yeah, I'm on one now, and we meet every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Every Wednesday at 5 o'clock, and it's a commitment. But I've fallen in love with the people on there because that's one of the things that happens. You meet people that you care about, you learn from, and the caring about is I want to help them succeed. Because I'm one of the gray hairs that, you know, we now need to give back.
Well, you know, when you get back to your company, if your manager or somebody in the company says, well, what are the 5 trends in the industry?
You can tell them.
You can tell them.
Yeah.
And you're not speculating. You're not blue sky, but you can tell them from what you actually saw, what the people you talked to. You know, these are real.
Yeah.
And you can say from personal experience, and that's important because you can take that information back to your company.
Right.
And your company's better for it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
John, thank you so much. It's been great.